You're listening to Scribble Talk Teaching, a podcast for bid and proposal professionals. My name is Bhaskar Sundaram, and I'll be sitting down with our industry veterans to dive deep into the topics that business-winning professionals like you can use to help grow your skills and your business. Today's guest is Venu Manohar, and we will be talking about a couple of his books, including Simplifying Bids and the related social media strategies along with it. Let's give a quick short intro about Venu. Venu started his career in core technical domain and switched to business domains by upskilling himself consciously. He is an APMP Foundation certified bid management professional working with a Japanese multinational. So obviously he's passionate about bid management profession. He has written a couple of books. He's also a good photographer, prominently bird photographies. If you are hooked up with him in Facebook, you can see a lot of amazing images that you take. He has also spoken in a few conferences. He has his MTech in Applied Geology and started his career in Geospatial Technology. If you know what that means, Google it. Otherwise, I'll ask Venu myself. And also, he's an MBA graduate in Marketing Management. So owing to his constant learning attitude, he then moved on to bid management. And now he's considered as a thought leader in the industry. So his book, Simplifying Bids, is actually launched. So he purposefully authored this book to help the people facing difficulties understanding the core concepts of business development and bid management. As you know, it's always a challenge to explain to people, what do you do when you say proposals? It's like, what is proposals? So this book was an attempt to explain what that means. So he simplified the process, the winning strategies to the possible extent, such as a layman can also understand. So the book is available. I will share the links part of the podcast. And Venu is here to talk more about the book. In addition to that, he also authored a short book which talks about don't run after a job, make the job run after you. Considering we are entering the new year, this short snippet book is also available in ebook format in Amazon. And please do read it and share your feedback to Venu. So Venu can be contacted. We'll also share his details as it is. So Venu, there is not much to talk about. Most importantly, welcome to Scribble Talk Teaching, Venu.
Thank you so much for wonderful introduction, Bhaskar. And I think you covered a lot of things about me. Nothing more actually from my end to add on. So we can get into this talk show.
Nice. Thank you, Venu. Thank you. So Venu, let's just go. I know there is a lot of contributions that you have done to the industry. Let's just talk a little bit more about simplifying bids to start with. What kind of inspired you to write a book, and talk us through and the journey of writing a book?
Yeah, inspiration was actually the struggles. What actually when I faced while starting my bid management career, that actually pushed me to at least share some kind of knowledge with the upcoming people, like who are actually looking for help in the industry and who do not know about the concepts and all, and who do not actually having, in fact, I can say that who are not able to afford some fees and highly payable fees to get them trained in APMP and other certification parts. So I was in that part when I started my career. There was less help in the surroundings, let it be in our peer group or maybe some other companies. So people were coming into the organization and working there and for the short time and leaving. And they were saying that this is not a bid management, actually should be followed. So when we were asking what is bid management, then they did not talk much about that. But few people in the industry and the thought leaders, they shared many information on the social media, especially on LinkedIn, in the form of articles and the posts. So likewise, we started gaining the information about what actually bid management is, what is the difference between proposal management and bid management, pricing, and so many things are actually involved in this particular domain. So if we can go into the deeper side, so we can find out there are so many things separated in the industry. So I was in, I thought of sharing the knowledge and sharing my own experience, what actually my journey was into this bid management domain. So I was into a thought to share some kind of information to the next generations. This was the basic thought, and I included my own experience, especially during my initial stages, and later on what are the learnings actually I have gained. And once I gained the information from the other sources, so I was in an opinion that winning is not possible by only submitting the bids. There is strategy behind that, and there are teams involved behind that winning strategy. So I have included in the last chapters about especially how to win a bid and what are the things required to win a bid, and what is the procurement cycle, and what is the bid management cycle, and what are the actual core needs, basic needs for a startup company or a experienced big corporates. So how they should approach to win a bid. So this is all about, my book is all about my experience, the struggles what actually I faced, bid management concepts backed by procurement cycle as well as this bid management life cycle. This is nutshell about my book, Master.
Thank you, Venu. I think that's a very brilliant point, because even now, the industry body has been existing from 1989, as you said. That's like 32 years now. And still the question ponders, what do you do? What's the profession? So is there any simple way of explaining, hey, this is what we do. This is what my company does. This is why we do tenders, etc. It's always welcoming. And I like the subject title, Simplifying Bids, because that's all we need. It's not just to go make it complex unnecessarily, but what's the bare minimum that we could explain or that we could know about this. So let's just go a little bit deeper into, so in your opinion, what is bid management?
So in my opinion, bid management is just answering a question paper when you are appearing in an examination. Question paper is your RFP and answer paper is my proposal. This is the simplest example, the way I can explain to the next generations about the bids.
Got it. Yeah, like how you write an exam, you just have a tender to respond to. The whole process of responding to a tender is a bid management, nicely put there. So, and then, when we talk about buying and selling, for example, there is always a simple sale and a complex sale. So how do you kind of talk about those things as well?
Yeah, simple sales, I can say that there is no contract between the parties, two parties. Anyways, buyer and whatever the transaction happens, there are two parties, buyer and seller. Simple way. While taking the example of a simplest one-on-one sale, you go to a shop and buy coffee or a ice cream or maybe something, and the sale ends there. You'll get the product and you'll pay for it. That is the end of the transaction, and you don't have to worry about the contract and all the things that post sale, what actually it is going to happen. These things are very simple, and at a one shot the transaction gets ended. While you take this example to the complex sale, so when you are going to buy 1,000 laptops from a laptop manufacturing company, then you will come to know what are the things to verify before the purchase of those goods, and what are the warranty clauses. What if the delivery doesn't happen on time? What are the liquidated damages? There are so many things can be incorporated into a contract, and that may become complex for both the parties, not to seller or not to only to buyer. It may be for both the parties. So I can say about the complex, the between simple and complex sales, how it happens. However, if a person can understand what can happen in one-on-one sale, there are the concept called quasi-contract. So before you buying a ticket, the flight ticket, you are going into a contract unknowingly, invisible contract. If you compare this quasi-contract concept when you are doing a simple sales, you will definitely will understand what actually can happen when you go to complex sales.
That's a very, very simple definition there. I mean, like primarily, there is always something called B2C and B2B. B2C is that simple contract where it's just between the business and the consumer. And then whereas B2B is business to business. But as you rightly said, if we go even to a very simplest term, it doesn't matter whether it's B2C or B2B, the buying experience could be one-to-one, or it could be a complex sale. I mean, like that's I think distilling it to the bare bottom, it's always fascinating. It's much easy to make it complex, but it's very hard to distill it. And again, when you're distilling it, obviously there are a few terminologies that we also need to remind ourselves. Again, some of the best practices that we have here is predominantly American. And as you know, more and more when we start to train people in all the way from Morocco to Egypt to Peru to Bangladesh, etc. It's, they are doing tenders left, right, center, but not necessarily the terminologies that they use is common. So let's just talk about a few terms as well. I mean, is RFP, ITT, tenders, RFX, what do you think is common?
All are actually common. But the thing is that I would categorize these things into straight. If I begin with, there is a customer life cycle, like buying life cycle. Initially, even if you individual level in a simple sales, the customer actually feels pain first of all. He doesn't understand why the pain is happening to him. So accordingly, he first starts searching for the reason behind the pain. And after that, once he finds out the reason, then he goes to the market or maybe some other place to search for the solution. And once he searches the solution, he'll start validating which solution is best for himself. And then he goes into the buying. Same thing, if you go to the corporate or maybe big company, big organization, while they decide, while they are facing some problem in the organization, particular to a department, the department guy will come to the procurement, the contract manager, and he puts a request to solve the problem, and then the cycle will start. So this is actually the procurement cycle. So once the start, so that is why I'm saying that to begin with, I'll start at UI first, expression of interest, RFI, request for information. This stage, customer is at that stage finding the solutions. He identified the pain and he searches for the solutions. So he releases UI or RFI and he actually in the anticipation of finding the right vendors who are providing the right solution for his pain point. That is one part. And after that, he shortlists that. Then by the time he will be understanding what are the things actually he finds out the solution fit, and then he starts finding a implementer. So that stage he releases RFP, which is request for proposal. By the time he will be in a position to with full information, what is his pain point, what is the solution fit, and maybe about the budget also, rough budget. After that, they go to the RFE, request for empanelment. Empanelment, it is for repeat purchase. So I'll simply divide this process into UI, RFP, and RFE.
Nice, Venu. Again, you know what, at the very complex level, we can take it, cook it, you know, much deep inside that, 80-step process here and there. But know what, here we are talking very bare minimum. There is a requirement, the customer is in need, and then he or she is trying to solve his or her problem through a written response, and we take a journey from there. That's brilliant. So primarily part of that overall experience is sometimes the procurement happens in good old days, it's happened printed ways, but now it happens on what we call e-tendering, e-procurement. Is it common? Do you see that common practice in where you kind of bid for?
Yeah, I have observed the change since 2011 in India, especially. So we started earlier. We were submitting the hard copy bids, and in 2011-12, there is e-procurement kind of thing happened in India, and the same thing adopted by the different departments, especially from the government. But nowadays, the enterprise sector, they usually ask the proposals by emails, or maybe they have their own platforms, and some people are actually using that Ariba platform, and some are using the local platforms, and some are using the government platforms. And nowadays, eGEMS is there in India for especially the government procurement. So what you said is exactly, it's absolutely right, because the trend has changed from physical submission to e-tender.
Yes, so obviously then companies needs to prepare themselves, or what they call the self-assessment of, some basic criteria. I mean, like these are the checklists that you need to have even before you tender for it. And going back to the very basics, what do you think are the basic components that businesses needs to have to just say, hey, am I ready for bidding?
Yeah, for me, they should actually first assess themselves. What are their strengths and weaknesses, especially, and what is the external environment, and how good they are connected with the customers, and how good they are into the solutioning. What are the best solution they can provide, and what if they know the differentiator of the solution they are providing, that would be better. And key points, if they analyze their SWOT analysis is the basic thing. If they do the analysis, if they find they are fit to, they are ready to bid, they can start. And I am not saying that till that point they should stop themselves. They can start participating in bids, and they can assess what are the gaps actually. And during this journey, they should be in a position to fill the gaps. If they are not filling the gaps, they are not going to win any bid. This is what actually I wanted to communicate to new bidders or the companies who are actually struggling to win the bids.
Yes, again, what sometimes it's very easy to get to find. I think recently when I was talking to Eric Gregory, for example, in the teaching podcast, he kind of nailed the point, which says that we are fine-tuned to finding complex solutions for simple problems. And so our mind focuses on complexity much quicker than simplicity. So what we're talking today, which is simplifying bids, could all mean like it's common sense, I know this, but in reality, that's what we don't do, because we unnecessarily go and do more and then realize why this is not working for me. But if you go to the very bottom of what's the 3 things that I need to do to win a bid, what is the 3 things that I need to do to have a motivated team, what are the 3 things I need to have a solid bid process, etc., we are moving into a much more structured, sustainable way. It's very, very powerful. Thank you. And obviously, when you go slightly outside from the big process in general, there is also what we call business development concepts. Obviously, bid doesn't come and land in your table. Somebody needs to position the selling part, unless you are in a public sector where you could go and register interest and you can start to do it. Talk us through about some of the BD concepts and what are the simplest way of looking into that as well, please.
Business development side, I would say that it's not a one-man show kind of thing. There should be a kind of orchestration should happen between the customer-facing executives as well as the backend teams. And the marketing team is key here because people usually understand that business development happens through sales guys. But it happens right from the inside sales, marketing, and the digital marketing guys, how they are positioning their brand into the market. That comes first. After that, from that stage, if a sales guy brings the same brand to the customer directly, face to face, then at least they can give a chance to extend the conversation because they already know the brand, and this sales guy taking that brand to the customer on face to face basis. So trust has already built by the marketing, and with that trust, customer will be at least ready to talk to the next level. So, and it starts like that. So what my opinion is that if an organization has to grab some opportunities in the market, they should first focus on building the trust, maybe physically or maybe attending so many events happen nowadays in the big cities. So the people come there and share the knowledge. They should go there and present their brand, and they should participate in whatever the way they can get this brand into the market space. So that is the best way. And apart from that, digital marketing is nowadays it is doing miracles in building the trust, especially, and that to specific audience, not all, specific audience. This is a kind of intruding tool nowadays. So business development, when it happens and when it is orchestrated between all the teams involved, whether maybe a pricing guy, solutioning guy, the bid management team, and the sales team, marketing team, digital marketing team, inside sales, they should all work together to build a business and for an organization. If you go into silos, if one department is good and another department is not doing that good, so it won't happen. So for the business owners, they should keep in mind that their organization should work towards the policy and the targets actually they have at organization level. Otherwise, it won't work out.
100%, Ben, 100%. Having that understanding of how the sales is originated, how the prospecting works, even before that, how do we define our customers? I think those are all critical, and that's what fascinates, because it's much easy once you kind of grasp that idea about sales and marketing, on proposals, it actually works. Because recently we did a survey of the top 85 companies back in UK, and then when we tried to look what the marketing posts about the company versus what the sales team talks to the buyer, what the bid team tries to write to the same buyers, the messages that the buyers gets from these three different sources. If you add the fourth, which is account management or operations colleagues who are going to say the same thing about to these buyers, if you win the contract, it's all totally different. It's because they work in silos. So for marketing, it's about brand. So push about what we do more about that. In sales, it's about what can we do to say to win this deal. Proposals is about how can I win the bid. And then accounts is about how can I continue to operate this contract to do it. But where the trick is being missed because of the lack of simplification is, as you rightly said, the not understanding the end-to-end means mixed messages goes across to the same buyer whom you're targeting, because different parts of your companies talk to the same buyer differently. And that's very important. And having this conversation, I mean, like, it's eye-opening. So thank you for sharing that. I mean, like, that just brings us to kind of much wider questions about, why is it a struggle to find the right customers?
Yeah. So the business development is actually it involves the full organization. So and it starts from the marketing inside sales. Then they build the trust actually in the market, and the digital marketing it is a big tool, and where the brand actually the brand awareness has been taken to especially the target customers. So once the trust is built, the next journey for sales is a cakewalk, because the customers actually already knows that they know your brand, and they can at least entertain what are the interviews, or maybe the presentations, or maybe the meetings with the sales guys. So this is all about the business development. I would like to inform Bhaskar.
Yes, Venu, that's good. And then why is it a struggle to find the right customers?
Yes, right customers, because of the competition, and I already told that first of all we need to assess what is our strength and what are our weaknesses, and accordingly we can tap what the competition is actually doing while tapping the customers. So my take would be here: if you want a right customer means the customer with a pain point. If we can tap that pain point at very earlier stages, I said customer will they follow a path of buying life cycle. So if you can tap that customer when they start feeling pain, that is the best way to grab that business opportunity and tap that customer. So for to do this, my suggestion would be, instead of physically going to them, the business owners should follow the inbound concepts. Inbound concepts, what happens that they in inbound concept, customer will come to your site. So you will be creating content suitable to the customer for that particular stage of the customer buying cycle, buying journey. Okay. So once you create a customer's the content related to that particular pain point, they'll definitely come to you to see what actually you're talking about, because the resemblance they have found, and they thought that there may be a kind of solution at your side that can help to solve their pain point. So my take here would be, if you want to tap a customer, you should be in a position to tap them when they are especially feeling the pain. This is possible if the business owners follow the inbound concepts of digital marketing.
Got it. I think we kind of slightly digressed from why is it a struggle to find the right customers into digital marketing there. I mean, but looking at the principles, what he said makes a lot of sense. But just to wrap up, before we move into a little bit more on social media, digital marketing, etc. What's your final thoughts on simplifying bid management steps?
Yes, simplifying bids, the concepts is, I would say, the bid management is not a one-man guy who can win a business for an organization. This is my experience, and this process actually involves, the bid management process involves lot many people, lot many teams, So I would say it is a teamwork, not they can't like it is not a job done by one man, and credit should go to all the people who are actually involved in this process.
Nice. Again, we talked about simplifying bids, we talked about simplifying terms, we talked about simplifying processes, and so on. So, when you look into, when we briefly touched about finding the right customers, obviously there is what we call inbound and outbound. Talk us through your view of what's the best way to do inbound and outbound sales to target the customer that you want to target.
So outbound, anyways, it has to be done by the sales guys and the business development people who are actually doing on face-to-face and physical manner. But the inbound, you are attracting the customers. You are attracting with your content. So the content, once you do a campaigning kind of things, and once you identify a sector, like you can say that a specific industry, if you are going to target, so you know the target industry, and you have to get the information from very beginning from different web sources or maybe the media. So if you are understanding how the progress is happening in that particular industry, and where you can fit your solution at that, if you find that point of that point of journey in that particular industry, so it would be easier to generate content and to attract those customers, because you already know that those are going to feel a pain at some point of time. By that time, if you can create a content on your social media or maybe the web platforms, so definitely they are going to connect you at one point of time. But the key here is that identify the pain well in advance, and you and be ready with your content. This is mainly important in inbound.
Totally, Venu. That's a fair point. Venu, obviously with digital marketing comes social media, and from social media comes a lot of other features of it. Talk us through, in very simple terms, why social media is important for bid management.
Yes, I again said that earlier I was talking about building a trust is important to drive the business. Bid management, what actually is bid management? This is a kind of sales in written format. Sales guy goes directly to the market and speaks and presents the solution and gets the order. In that one way of getting the business. Another way of getting the business is through the bids. Then also sales guys are involved and initial talks are happening there, but the customer actually needs a written document, a formal document. So the things are same. Whatever the sales is happening on direct mode, here it is going through the bids. So if you do not build a trust, definitely they are not going to pick your bid. So this is my my take on how the social media, like how it is actually applicable to the bid management. And with the social media and with the digital marketing techniques, with inbound marketing techniques, they can build the trust first, or maybe directly if the sales guys are directly going to the customers well in advance and finding the pain points. That is also a good thing to drive bids, and it is actually leading. Which is essential to win a bid. Trust. I again say that trust and brand building.
Got it. Again, it's very, very important. The reason for this talk about trust and brand building is people buy from people, right? I mean, you might be wondering, They are so nice, and they just want to buy your company. But no, they like you as a person, and they want to buy from you. And just because you're working for this company, which might have a good reputation of solving problems, it's work. But most important thing is customers always have a choice, and they prefer to work with somebody whom they know, like, and trust. And it could be your company, but remember, your company has few individuals, that includes you. But it's very important for you to build that trust, build that personal brand, so that when you write a tender, it's much, much easier. Remember what I told before, which is like, it's much, much easy for people to know who you are, what your values are, what you stand for from social media and all the posts that you do. And then they try to then read your tender document to just get, okay, X and Y is the bid director, bid manager, and X and Y has written this tender, X and Y has posted it. Believe me, there is a lot of conversations now that's happening where people try to understand you as a bid person more, as much as your tenders as well. So that's a very, very valid point. So when we talk about this, obviously, we talk about content, and the content, as you know, could be of varied format. So what suggestions, advice would you give with management professionals on content?
Yes, to the professionals especially, they should actually think to share the knowledge what actually they gained throughout their journey in the bid management. They should come out into the market. It is so easy. It is so easy today because we have the media and social media spread across on different platforms. What are the way they can present their concepts, or they might have learned, they might have done something different. They can come to that. They can come out into the market and share their knowledge. Because why I'm saying that is, there are so many people with 1 to 2 years experience or 5 years experience, still they are struggling. And some people are working in other industries, and they don't have a proven process. They are just randomly, they are submitting their bids, and their bosses are thinking that the bids can, if you hire a bid manager can win a new business for them. This is wrong. Actually, the concept itself is wrong. There are so many people, and there are so many guys who are actually struggling lonely, working alone in the organization, in the night shifts. They're struggling a lot. If the guys, actually the experienced people, can come out into the market and share the knowledge or the concepts, or what are the new things they have experimented or learned, that would be a great thing for the next generations. This is one information I would like to give to the people actually who are sitting in a good positions. Okay, so the social media, if I take the content part, like what are the type of content, it is up to you, up to the people, up to their own convenience. If a person is convenient, he's comfortable in writing a script, or in writing a post, or in writing an article, they can opt for the LinkedIn platform, written platform. They can do the posts on written basis. And if a person is comfortable in making videos, and they are comfortable in talking, they can do podcast, or maybe YouTube videos and Instagram videos. There are so many ways. So we have platforms, especially the most important is the LinkedIn, where all the professionals are actually connected. They can, if they like, they can go to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So, and nowadays Clubhouse is also there. So it depends upon their comfort level. But the main thing is spread the message. Whatever you know, share them with the world. This is what actually I would like to give a message to the people who are actually sitting comfortably, and who actually become legends in the bid management.
Thank you, Venu. I think that's important. I think if you're overwhelmed with, oh my God, do I need to create images? Do I need to create videos? What platforms, etc.? Start with LinkedIn. Start with LinkedIn and then use that as your primary platform, and be consistent. That's the thing, because when I started, I used to post twice a week, and I used to post content which I like, which I found interesting through my portal, through my feed. And what that means is, remember, even though you are not the author of that thing, because you shared it, people then start to rely on you for thought leadership because it came from you. And that's how you build gradually. I mean, like as Venu pointed, whether you can repurpose that same content in multiple formats. These days, there are many social media publishing tools like Buffer, Sprout Socials, and so many things, where you put a normal, and they also have a free things where you could start to do it. Again, this might look like extra effort, but believe me, I think personal branding and personal, as Venu pointed out very early on in his profile, he is constant learning attitude. He positioned himself. So which means it's important for you to position yourself. That's why, even writing books like what Venu did and sharing his views in this podcast is just different forms. But start somewhere and then start to share the content. You don't need to write an article, write a blog, write a book. Start to share what you stand for, where would you find it interesting, and do it consistently. Then people will start to look upon you. Then gradually you just build your own stuff over there. And again, that's very important. So because consistency is super key. Again, the last 2 points, before we wrap up, as you know, now we are nearing New Year. When we record this podcast, it's just before New Year. So people will be looking for roles. People will be looking to move in. As you know, we are running the quick poll on will you stay or will you move? I'll take this opportunity to share. We are aiming for 6,000 entries, but so far we have got like 11%, 650 entries. So far what we found out was how the entries, what it tells us is 11% of the professionals will be moving immediately as of December, January, bingo. They will be out from their company. 24% will be moving within the first 1 month, and 44% will be moving within 3 months. So what that means is, there will be a lot of movement. The talent shortage or great resignation, or it's just general, always happens during New Year. But this year, you're going to find a lot more movements and more to what it is. On that note, you did author the book, that small title that says, don't run after a job, but make the job run after you. Give the listeners few tips on what the book talks about and few insights from the book, please.
Yes, the title itself is Don't Run After a Job. So again, I actually studied something about the inbound marketing, how it works, and I related the same concept to this job searching process. So in job searching process also, we what actually they're also selling and buying happen, right? So I am selling my skill, and the employer is buying my skills. So if you can relate the inbound concepts to this job search process, you'll come to know many things and many areas where actually you're missing. So this book is all about that one. And one more thing is that there is a difference between a job and a dream job. If somebody offers me a security guard kind of a job, I may not be able to doing that for a long time. Bid management, I love bid management. I love what are the things actually happening in my role. That is why I still continuing and I'm growing here. So this point actually has been put in that book. Differentiate between the dream job and a job. And to find a dream job, they should first understand what actually the pain points are, what are the gaps, and what they need in future. So all these things actually they have been discussed. It's all about finding a right job, a dream job. It's a very short narration, Bhaskar. There are a lot of things actually kept in a very short book. It's around 23 pages. People actually read in half an hour.
Yes, true, but it's a simplification, that matters, isn't it? I mean, like at this point, what COVID taught us is, what do you value more? You want to be where you're recognized, where you're happy, where you're fulfilled. And in the past, you used to travel 5 days a week, just to be in an office, just to work long and late. But today you do the same long and late at the expense of your family, So it's a massive shift in what we wanted. Work-life balance as a term is completely gone now, where people is like, oh my God, there is no life. It's all work, or the work is eroded lives. So it's important, whoever is considering to move or looking to move, is to keep that, find a job that you love. And if it's a big management and for progress, do the same. Or if you decide, what, I find something else interesting, please do go and find the job that you love, because at the end of the day, money is one, it's important, but point number one is add value, then you can influence, then you could be successful. But it's a good one, Venu. Any other point?
One point actually very important is that I suggested in that book to be active on social media, or be connected, like whether you it may be by a phone call on weekly basis, or maybe a one post on in LinkedIn, or maybe some other social media, but improve your visibility in the market, improve your activity. So what are the things you are doing that should reflect in the, like, at least you should not be a stranger. If you are in a comfort zone and you are continuing with the job, but all of a sudden there is a COVID and you lose the job, and people, I have seen people asking for help on LinkedIn, but that guy did not do anything on social media or maybe to the community, so I did not recognize him. If he is a new guy, how can I recommend him to another organization? Because he started appearing when he lost the job. So instead of doing that, be active on daily basis, continuity. So the people in the community will come to know you are so and so, you do so and so. And when things go wrong, then you can directly go to their profiles and you can directly message them asking for help.
That's very, very, very good point. I think don't just come when you are in trouble. It's important for you to be, at least show some visibility. Unfortunately, we are living in a world where, it's important to be visible. Nobody will come to you. You should be visible in where we are. And yes, it's, and again, one of the things that I always mention to people is to don't just like somebody's post. What if, and because there are so many posts that comes on a day-to-day basis, create something of value to yourself and let others like your post. And it's important to be open and honest as well, because we all are not superhumans. And sometimes when we are in trouble, we should ask for help. Sometimes when we are okay, we should share our success. But sometimes what you find is you always find people sharing success and not much of a help. So it's important to play a neutral card. But most importantly, if you are an introvert, if you don't want to share how you feel, or whether you're very humble, grounded, you don't want to share your success, it's all fine. But at least start to share some information that you like, because it might interest others, and then gradually that's how we position this. So, Venu, it's really great, Venu. I mean, to have a chat about this. Yes, we started about simplifying bids, then we talked about personal branding and how it connects to bid management professional as well. As we close, Venu, any final thoughts, or is there anything else you would like to share to the listeners?
Yes, one important thing I would like to share as my advice to the listeners is that be active on social media or maybe in your community. Share the good things to the next generation. What are the learnings actually you have got in your experience and your journey? Understand the pain points of the next generation and accordingly start helping them so that we will grow as a community, not as individuals. This is the one message I would like to give to the listeners.
Brilliant, Venu. What a closure, that one. And I think you're an epitome of what we stand for, Venu. I think brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing your time, sharing your insights. And we will add a link for both the books that Venu has authored. Browse through. I mean, it's, as it stands, it's very, very simple, but that's what we need now. It's very, very easy to make it complex, to get to the very bare minimum of how can we explain this to a little child, to our own children, to our families. This is what I do. And to go to the very bottom of why do we pay it? How can we improve, so and so. It's all there. And also this little book about don't run after a job. We'll add all these links, Venu. But thank you so much for joining today. It's been an absolute privilege and honor to have you with us at Scribble Talk Teaching. We wish you, your family, your loved ones, your friends, colleagues, everybody around you, all the good health and happiness. Continue to inspire the proposal industry family and also everybody around you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and happy New Year.
To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Please visit bachuscribble.com/podcast to listen to this episode and check out any of our other previously recorded episodes. If you've enjoyed today's interview, don't forget to subscribe, review, and share the Scribble Talk podcast. We hope you'll check out our next episode where we interview another industry expert and special guest. Until then, it's Ashley Kays,
Bhaskar Sundram,
signing off.